Both Candy and Good Will Hunting climax when their male protagonists break down into tears. What do these two scenes have in common? What can they tell us about masculinity? And along with that, why are they so reliably touching? Candy is a bleak and unflinchingly realistic depiction of heroin addiction. The highs, the lows, and the very lows. The film begins in heaven. Dan is wrapped up in his love of Candy that even some scary red flags, including an overdose in the bathtub the first time she tried injecting, failed to faze him. She was his heaven, and he was not yet ready to admit to himself that either of them had a problem. The scene begins with a brooding narration from Dan.
And that was it. That was all of us scattered to the winds. Casper was gone. Schumann was lost.
He's told he has a visitor, and he knows it can really only be one person. At this point, he's nervous, but also hopeful, thrilled to start their life anew.
Hey.
Thought it was tomorrow.
I couldn't wait.
Eventually, they kiss. The ride scene at the beginning cuts in and out, signifying Dan's fleeting return to heaven, and it is that very fleeting return that solidifies Dan's nerves. They pull away, and Dan's tears start. Candy, not understanding what they signify, tries to comfort him.
Hey. It's okay. Hey. Hey, it's okay. I'm here now.
However, Dan is certain now. Catharsis has set in. He knows they can no longer be together lest their addictions take hold. He says as much to Candy.
If you're given a reprieve, I think it's good to remember just how thin it is.
This is Dan's catharsis. It is the cessation of ignorance in the face of light. Candy was always too sweet to be true. He realizes that he must no longer cling to the pipe dream of heaven that she was. Good Will Hunting, like Candy, is a story about a young man abandoning some very harmful beliefs. In the beginning, Will's only relationships are with a little group of friends from the neighborhood who divide their time neatly between bars and batting cages. Here, Will is safe. His friends are loyal and fun, but they don't challenge him and they don't make him vulnerable, and he's alone in a way because of that. Will's journey can be thought of as the breaking down of defense mechanisms, ignorance, by a series of wake-up calls that open him to the world. You can view the film as essentially Will breaking out of this orderly world and moving into a world of unknowns, chaos, because only then will he be able to truly love and achieve self-actualization. He throws away a very promising relationship and amazing job prospects in order to not move out of this known world, because as his therapist Sean says,
"You'll never have that kind of relationship in a world where you're always afraid to take the first step because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road."
Now we head to the iconic "It's Not Your Fault" scene. The scene where the ever-tough, clever, and defensive Will Hunting is brought to tears. The therapy opens by Sean establishing some trust with Will as a friend, a confidant, and not just a therapist. Rather than only listen to Will, he builds trust by showing him that he can relate. First, Sean calmly, confidently tells Will that the abuse he suffered as a child, the cause of Will's trauma, is not his fault. Will brushes it off. Sean says it again, working through his defenses. Again, Will brushes it off. This time, with a bit more seriousness. Sean doesn't waver. Will tries to use humor. The technique is working. Sean says it again. This time, Will stands up. Now there is some anger in him. Sean doesn't waver for a second. This time, Will becomes desperate for him to stop, though. His defenses are wearing down. Sean won't stop. This time, Will pushes him. Again, Will's beginning to lose control. Sean remains steady. He tells Will another time. This time it's different. Will starts to cry. All the pain he'd been holding in, the self-loathing, doubt, and fear of intimacy, love, and success fell out of him into his tears. He realizes that he is safe and that he can love. This is Will's catharsis, coming to terms with the fact that the world isn't out to hurt him, that he can depend on people, and they won't abandon him.